Video is to show how you can encrypt spreadsheets. Now, why encrypt spreadsheets? Often with spreadsheets you have confidential information and non-confidential information in the same spreadsheet, but there's currently no way that you can allow people to look at the non-confidential information without compromising the confidential information. Using this process you can do that. Now you can download this program to encrypt the spreadsheets from encryptedspreadsheet.com. So what I've got now is I've got a spreadsheet that I've split into a sheet called confidential contacts and then another sheet called just normal contacts. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to encrypt the sheet called confidential contacts, and I'll just for purpose of demonstrating, I'll also encrypt the sheet called costing, which you can see there. So now I first open up the program which I've downloaded from the site encryptedspreadsheet.com. The name of the program is Encrypted Spreadsheet version 1.2. Now when you first open up this program, it's going to ask you to load your personal encryption password. This is the password that the whole program runs from, and it cannot be recovered by this program, and only you can enter it. So you have to be able to re-enter it the same way each time. You can practice entering this password by going to encryptedspreadsheet.com and getting an encryption program to just enter the password. So I'm going to enter a simple password. Now down the sides you have buttons that say, for example, 3 across, and up here it's 6 down, and this one here is back, and the ones at the bottom are up. So when I click on 3 across, for example, it loads O, 2, U, 4, etc. And I'm going to go 6 back. And this button down here transfers the password at the bottom up to the top. And now I'm going to load 6 down, and I've got a 57 character password, and that's what I'm going to proceed with. The password has to be greater than 50 characters. So now I'll show you how the password loads the keys. So what the program does is it allocates a 2-digit number for each letter, and then it allocates a 2-digit number for a mixing sequence. So for example, if I enter 1 to 8, that will have a value in this program based on my personal encryption password. If I right click, I can see the value of it. So the value of that for me is R braces M, with the 2 digits being lost for mixing it. If I copy that password and I enter it here, and if I load it, you can see that 27418,503 has the same value in this program as 1234567 and if I right click on that, I'll show you, just demonstrate that. So you can see that that's the value of 1 to 8, and that there is the value of 274185. So what that means is that every number that's even has a value, and what I've loaded in is I've loaded pi to 2 different decimal values, excluding the decimal place. So I'm going to encrypt using this password, which is named pi, and the value that I'm going to use to encrypt is R5Y equals etc. Now this is a 110, I think it is, or 13-digit password. So now what I'll do is I'll load the encryption. So what you would normally do is you'd come in to the program, you've already loaded your personal password, and you click on process encryption. This then takes you to this sheet here. Now you click on encrypt here, and what will happen is that all of the spreadsheets that are currently open will be loaded into this dialog box here, and if you want to open a new spreadsheet to encrypt, then you click on the browse button here. So I'm going to select that spreadsheet that I just showed you called Costing XLS. And what it then does is it loads all the sheets from that spreadsheet into the sheets here. It won't load encrypted sheets. So I'm going to encrypt that one called Costing and the one called Confidential Contacts. So if I now, and now I've got to pick a key, and I'm going to pick that key pi, which had that encrypted password that we saw. And if I now process it, what it's doing is it's encrypting each of those sheets. And now what I can do is I can go and have a look at those. So I can click here and it'll take me to it. So you can see that it's loaded an encryption and removed the confidential contacts. If I click on contacts, you can see they're still there. And same with Costing, it's loaded it. Other things it's done is it hasn't altered the formatting for this sheet. So when the information is restored, the formatting remains the same. And the other thing it does is it password protects the sheet. So if I F2 to try and edit, it says I can't because it's password protected. And the password is contained within the encryption. Right. So now what I'll do is I'll show you how you would decrypt that spreadsheet so you could use it. So again, you would come into the encryption program and you would click on Process and Encryption, and that would take you to this encrypted sheet. Now there's two ways to decrypt a spreadsheet. You can click on this decrypt button here, or if you pick the sheet you want to decrypt, you can right click on it. I'm going to right click, and then it just loads the information. Now none of this information would help someone to decrypt the spreadsheet unless they have your personal password. So I can now just process the decryption. And you can see that the costing information is now restored, and I didn't decrypt the confidential contacts, so they're still hidden. So if I go back and decrypt the confidential contacts, I could have decrypted them both at once, but I didn't. So now you can see the confidential contacts are restored. And now I could add information to this spreadsheet. If I go to the bottom, I could add some more information to it. And what will happen is when we close the encrypted program, it will re-encrypt all of the sheets that have been decrypted. So this is for security purposes. So what I'll do to show you that is I'll close this, and I'll open another spreadsheet just so that Excel doesn't close down. So now if I close this, and it will also clear your personal password again. Obviously you don't want someone to get that. So if I close this spreadsheet now, you can see down the bottom it's opening up those spreadsheets, or that spreadsheet, and it's re-encrypting it. So what I can do is I'll open up the costing spreadsheet again, and you can see that these sheets have now been re-encrypted. So if I want to look at them again, I'm going to have to open up the program, and again it's going to ask me for my encrypted password. So I have to go through that same procedure again. I enter my password and decrypt a spreadsheet. Now that's basically how it works. It's very simple, and when you leave the spreadsheet it re-encrypts it, and you can add to that spreadsheet, and all you need to do is enter your personal encryption password.